Some people never explain. Not when you're confused, not when you're hurt, not even when the relationship is clearly falling apart. They just stay silent. And you're left wondering, do they not care, or do they just not think you deserve an explanation? Reason 1. Learned that explaining doesn't work. From a psychological perspective, this behavior is often learned. If someone has repeatedly tried to explain themselves in the past and was ignored, misunderstood, or even attacked for it, the brain adapts. It forms a simple conclusion: explaining doesn't help. Over time, this becomes automatic, so when conflict appears, they don't even try anymore. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they no longer believe that saying it will change anything. Reason 2. Emotional overload. Explaining isn't just talking, it requires emotional regulation. You have to understand what you feel, organize your thoughts, and stay present while the other person reacts. For many people, that's too much at once, so when emotions rise, the system shuts down. They go quiet, not because they're calm, but because they're overwhelmed. Silence in that moment feels easier than trying to hold everything together. Reason 3. Avoidant attachment. There's also a deeper pattern at play. People with avoidant attachment often associate closeness with risk. To them, explaining means opening up, and opening up means vulnerability, and vulnerability feels unsafe. So instead of moving closer through communication, they create distance, they withdraw, they stay silent, especially when the relationship starts to matter. How to deal with people who never explain. If you're dealing with someone like this, pushing harder usually makes things worse. Instead, try lowering the pressure while still protecting your needs. You can say things like, "I'm not trying to argue, I just want to understand you. If you can't explain right now, we can talk later. Your silence is hard for me, I do need some response." These statements do two things. They reduce emotional threat, but they also set a boundary, because understanding someone doesn't mean losing yourself. And one important truth, you can't force someone to explain, but you can decide how long you're willing to stay in confusion. Ending. Not explaining doesn't always mean they don't care. Sometimes it means they've learned that speaking doesn't feel safe. But silence has a cost. It protects them in the moment, but over time, it breaks connection. So if you're the one who stays silent, you don't need perfect words. Just start with something small. "I don't know how to explain this yet, but I'm trying." Because growth doesn't begin when everything is clear. It begins the moment you choose to open up, even just a little.